Hey everybody, here we are for another episode of Your Favorite Game. I'm your host, Eric Switzer, joined by my co-hosts, George Foster.
Hello.
And the gamer's Editor-in-Chief Stacey Henley.
Hello, hello.
Today, in honor of Dragon Age the Veilguard?
The Veilguard.
The Veilguard, our topic is your favorite game with dragons. And I love dragons a lot. We talked about this before the show. George, you want to admit you do. George doesn't love dragons so much.
Yeah, that's all my reaction to
dragons.
It. I like cartoon dragons. I like little dragons. Just the big ones. I don't know. It's something about like otherworldly big creatures. I'm just like,
When we picked this topic, I just took for granted that we all love dragons because I couldn't imagine someone who didn't. and yet here you are.
You know my weird rules. There are specific rules about what I like. But I do like some dragons. I don't like space.
He doesn't like space and he doesn't like dragons.
There are multiple.
We know George obviously off. We don't just meet up every week to do this. We know George outside of the reality that is this podcast. And George is by far the most enthusiastic of us. He loves everything. Yeah. He's always really like hyped for new games. He's really into like trailers that are coming out. And then we do this show and we say like, oh, today we're doing like jump scares. Oh, they were doing flashlights. Oh, I hate flashlights. We just didn't ever like the topic that we choose.
They're a George core subject, you know. We'll get to them as the show continues, I'm sure, but there are things I'm more passionate about. And
no
dragons is sadly not one of them.
Space. Wait till he finds out about Rayquaza.
I also don't like Pokemon, so there is that. There's me losing everyone who loved me.
All right. Well, before we get into the games, I would like to talk about how cool dragons are, and George, you can
I can listen.
Entertain me. Yeah, you can listen attentively. Yeah. I just think it's really cool that there is this element of folklore that is, by definition, local, regional, and yet all these cultures all over the world have their own dragons. There's Chinese dragons, there's European dragons, Mesoamerica Quetzalcoatl, Greek Hydra, and they had other kinds of dragons too, but there's all of these different cultures have their own kinds of dragons. There's a few theories, but how do you account for that? What do you think that is?
I don't know. I mean, England's patron saint, St. George, is famously his thing is he killed a dragon.
The Welsh flag has a dragon.
Right? Yeah, I think the Welsh flag has that dragon. I actually don't know the story that England went, our guy is the dragon killer, and Wales went, well, we're going to be the dragons then. I'll show you. I don't know why Wales has the red dragon. I don't know if it's the same one that St. George killed. But yeah, I think it's I think Jordan Peterson said it best when he said they were the imagistic ideal of a predator. They are this big, scary beast. They have everything that can possibly hurt you. They have, and also in a lot of stories, mountains of gold. I don't know if that's like a Tolkien thing or if he used that myth, but that's become part of like the dragon, especially in games like D&D and stuff. Dragons that hoard things. So I think
which is just another example of power.
Yeah,
like it's not enough that they can bite through you and breathe fire and fly. Also, they're billionaires.
Suddenly I like dragons.
Yeah, also they own Twitter.
No, but I think that's part of it, right? Like the dragon is scarier than a lot of it. It's scarier than, I don't know, the Yeti or the Banshee or those sort of things, because it's not really a beast in that sense. It's more like the vampire.
Right.
It's intelligent. It speaks, and a lot of the myths, the dragons speak. They have knowledge. They understand the violence that they wreak. The abominable snowman, just a big guy in a mountain who kills you. But the dragon isn't just doing it because it's predatory instinct or because it's got the brain the size of a walnut. It's doing it because it can. Yeah. You might have something at once, and even if you don't, you're in its way. And I think that makes them impressive. And I think, which I mentioned D&D there, they have this like whole range of like the different, like wormlings and different types of dragons that I think there's always with so many stories that there's always some kind of threat. Then they're not all huge beasts that you would never come face to face with. Like there's different variants of them that I think makes them really interesting.
But they're always violent by nature. I mean,
Yes.
they don't have societies. They don't have packs or families. Like a dragon is always alone, and the only way to deal with him is to slay him.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Slay.
Even in like, I keep going back to D&D. It's not a game I'm going to mention. It's not a video game, but like,
Yeah.
you know, they have like cults. If they have anything, they have like Tiamat with the cults and the kobolds and stuff. Like, they're gods to be worshipped. They don't have mates.
Yeah. So that sort of idea that it's the teeth of an alligator and the wings of a bat, and it's just all the scariest things to us. But also just that people found old bones. Right?
Yeah.
What they were dinosaur or mammoth, whatever. They found big bones, and they're like, I think I know what that's from. Great. Okay, let's get into the games. We didn't talk, as usual. We didn't talk very much about the topic. We said, "How about dragons?" We all thought that sounded good, except George apparently. And I knew that there were a lot of dragon games, but the more I've been thinking about it over the last week, there's a lot of dragon games, and they're not always, RPGs. They're not always like Dragon Age and Dragon Quest and Dragon's Dogma. There's lots of kinds of games about dragons, and I'm hoping we picked some very different kinds of games with dragons. So, Stacey, why don't you start? What is your favorite game with dragons?
Okay, so my favorite game with dragons is Spyro the Dragon, specifically the first entry in the series, which is just called Spyro the Dragon. The reason I went for that one is it's not my favorite game in the series. It's probably second, possibly even third. But all of the collectibles in it are dragons. The kind of the plot of that game is Nasty Nork has sealed the various, like the adult dragons, the larger dragons of the kingdom, in this kind of crystal substance, and you need to run around and rescue them. What I loved about it was all of the dragons have their own set personality. You weren't just kind of collecting them like you collect crystals in Crash Bandicoot or rings in Sonic or I don't know, coins in Mario, or we collect stuff in Mario. You're going to get to the end.
Stars.
Keep going. Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, stars, I guess.
So yeah, there was a real, I guess, more narrative purpose. And, I played a lot of platformers as a kid because I grew up in the 90s, and that was the game that you played. And I never really, I guess, cared at the time that it didn't really have a story. But it's pretty noticeable looking back. Even like the future Spyros, they don't really have much of a purpose for why are you running around in this world. Like Crash, in the actual like opening that they cut from the games, this isn't actually told you. Like Crash was experimented on by Cortex, then he escapes, and there's like gets kicked off the island, and then Torna's in it to go and rescue her. But really, you're just mainly just going through like jumping on like warthogs because that's what's in front of you and that's what you need to do. I love that Spyro had more of a plot to it. He rescued the different dragons, and especially in Reignited, because they had a lot more like tech available to them, you saw more personality come through in their like aesthetic designs. Like in Artisans, they're all like artists, and yeah, I think that's a really cool use of dragons to give them this kind of, we said they're really scary, and I'm sure a lot of the games we're going to discuss today, they are big things that you fight, and that's not the case in Spyro. And then also, you've got Spyro himself. Spyro isn't just a mascot who happens to be a dragon. They use the dragonness of him really well. He headbutts things with his horns. He flies, and when he flies, actually not in the first game, it doesn't come into the second game, but he does that little like hover, he push triangle, and he like... he's got a dragonfly. That's just funny because he's a dragon and he flies, and he's got a dragonfly. He breathes fire. That's an obvious one. And I feel like they use Spyro's body language really well, even though he can speak. So he's like an intelligent creature who like drives the story of the game. He reminds me a lot of Stitch. Stitch is very reliant on
for sure
like body language stuff, and I think that makes Spyro really cool. There's the bit where you fly from level to level, and the gems go on at the bottom, and they go, and if you lean forward in that, even though nothing's happening, it's just loading. Spyro like reaches forward with his claws and tries to grab it, and he looks like a cat. It's like a little, like what a house cat would do.
He's very cat-like.
Yeah, there's definitely parts of that, and like obviously when he runs, he like does like and he skids a little bit like a cat would if they run.
Yeah,
and then the claws are too long on a hardwood floor and stuff like that, and he bounces into the wall and then like spins back and.
Yeah,
this is where George references Layers of Fear again. So
I'll try not to.
I really like the way they use Spyro as a dragon because it feels like you're controlling a dragon not just. I'm sure platform aficionados will say I'm completely wrong on this, but like Crash, Sonic, Rayman, Mario, they're all the same thing. They run.
Yeah.
Sonic goes faster, he can roll into a ball. Crash spins around and do like the spinny jump. They all have different powers, but they're all bipedal creatures who run and jump on things.
Yeah.
Spyro just felt different, and I think that's because they made him feel like it. Because he could have been a dragon who stands up on two legs. You know, they could have done like
Sure.
They have some of them as well. The
Tasmanian
adults.
tiger thing. Yeah, the adults
Right.
do. A lot of the adults do.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, that is what makes him such a cool platform character, because when you think about the other animal platformers like Croc and Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, they're just Mario, right?
Yeah.
They're
I mean,
just
Binks the
Mario
cat
in
is
it.
a cat. We just said Spyro's a cat. There's an actual cat, and the cat stands on two legs.
Yeah.
It's like
That's true. I never thought of that like that.
But nothing feels like Spyro.
No.
Only Spyro feels like Spyro. And I love those remakes. I love how much they added to those dragons. Shout out to that concept artist Nicholas Cole, awesome artist. Put so much personality into those dragons. I sure wish they had done that with the baby dragons in 3.
Yes. Do you know
Which
why they
were
didn't?
just
Do you
the
want some trivia on that?
Yeah,
I
it
do.
is.
So when they made Spyro the Dragon, that's the first game, for the like PlayStation 1 Greatest Hits thing. While that was being made, I'm not an expert, so I'm gonna get bits of this wrong because I don't know the tech well enough. Activision basically like lost the source code that they were using, and back in those days, games didn't get remade. Like they were done, so they lost. And they're like, "That's fine, the game's finished. Who needs it?"
Right.
And then 20 years later, they when they remake it, and they're like, "Where's the source code?" And they're like, I don't know, we lost it 20 years ago. It doesn't exist anymore. So Spyro
Okay.
1, the remake of Spyro the Dragon, was completely remade from the ground up. Like, they just played it and then, like, sat on a computer and went, okay, it looks like this. But with 3, they had the stuff, so they could just go, like, here's 3. They would go, like, let's build it and fix it. So they didn't need to remake it, I guess. So they could just kind of go, well, the baby dragons are here, let's make them look nicer. Because they were already rebuilding everything for 1,
Yeah.
I guess they kind of went, well, we'll just give him a little mustache because he's an artist, and we'll give this one like a suit of armor because they're a knight, and like, so that I think they just did that because they could.
It ends up hurting the collection though, because it feels like they made an incredible remake and then they tacked on 2 more.
Yeah, no,
And
I
if
agree.
they had-
I love the
I
remake
like-
of
I
2.
like-
I don't think I'd agree with saying 2 feels tacked on. I think that's possibly true of 3.
I think 1's the best one overall.
I think 2's the best one overall. That's probably why I feel the need to defend it in this.
No,
I
yeah,
just
that's
loved
fair.
playing it.
I
So
like
wait,
2
you're
and 3.
The first one you're saving dragons, the third one you're saving baby dragons. What are
Yes.
you doing in the second one?
You're getting orbs to power the
Orbs.
professor's
Oh, that's
gates.
crap.
You're getting white balls.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. They are green and gold. And you have to play an ox at ice hockey to get them.
Yeah.
In fact, there's two different ice hockey games in complete different levels in
Yes.
Spyro 2.
2 and 3 are overcomplicated. I think simple is best for
No.
Spyro. No, controversial, I know. Apparently I'm negative out of the 3 of us today.
Only
but
Sergeant Bird was. The rest was perfect.
Spyro 1 is chef's kiss. The others I'm like, just why do I want to play as other characters? I don't. I want to play
You
as
don't play
Spyro.
as anyone else in 2. You do in 3.
3 sucks.
Great choice, man. I love Spyro. I just love him as a character because he's definitely comes from that like 90s, early 2000s attitude, extreme too.
Bart Simpson mode.
Yeah,
Do the
he's got a
Bartman,
little
yeah.
Bart Simpson, but he's so charming. He's not off-putting the way that, I don't know. Even Crash is a little like,
No,
all right, we get
you
it.
take that back.
We get it,
Crash,
Crash.
Crash went through a tribal tattoos era. Like,
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
fun fact, Spyro is voiced by the voice of SpongeBob, Tom Kenny.
that is a fun fact. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Spyro is voiced by Carlos Alizaraki from Reno 911.
In
It
Reignited
maybe he has
trilogy.
multiple voices. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
The remake
I
one's
think-
Tom Kenny.
Yeah, I think maybe he replaced him at some point down the line, and then for the Reignited trilogy, they were just like,
Well, it was Elijah
Yeah.
Wood at one point.
yeah, oh
It
god.
was, yeah.
Less we say about that, the better, I think.
Great soundtrack.
Yes.
It
Love
was
the Spyro music.
Was it Stuart Townsend did the soundtrack? He was musician. He was in the Who or something, I think.
Yes.
I feel like this is a Spyro iceberg of facts that are like we're slowly going until one of us is eliminated, and it's me. I've lost the Spyro knowledge.
Okay,
I still talk about
great.
his career at Subway.
Oh no!
Yes, we could talk about Spyro all day, but George, if you could even pick one, what is your favorite game with dragons?
Oh, mine's easy. My favorite game with dragons is Dragon Ball FighterZ. Now, I saw both your eyes glaze over.
One dragon.
Yeah,
There's one
just
dragon.
let
It's
me
a good
get to
dragon.
it. It's a very good dragon. It's the best dragon. Maybe the most iconic dragon in media. I would argue.
I don't know his name.
Absolutely not.
Wait. Stacey, what's the dragon's name?
This is going to sound very, very silly because that's the name of the thing. I didn't know there was a dragon in Dragon Ball.
Oh, really? If you saw it, you would be like, "Oh yeah, that's the
maybe
dragon."
I'd recognize it as an anime dragon. Maybe I don't pretend to be an expert on anime, but there's no way it's the most iconic dragon of all time. It's just.
Let me guess. I think I know its name, but I'm gonna maybe be wrong. Is it Shenron?
Yes, you are correct.
Okay. Nice.
I know this is a George. What's that phrase when you're in a tunnel?
Tunnel vision.
You know,
George Tunnel.
George Tunnel. We'll call it the George Tunnel. But it was always going to be Dragon Ball for me, and I had to have a think about which one because I
don't really recognize this dragon. By the way, sorry.
You have to recognize Shenron.
All right.
I'm upset. But anyway, we'll do my thing, and then I'll be upset after. So I couldn't decide at first because Sparking Zero just came out, which was like, oh yeah, definitely Dragon Ball then. But the more I thought about it, the way FighterZ does it is so unique to any Dragon Ball game, and it makes such good use of the character and how you do the thing. So for people who don't know, Stacey, in Dragon Ball, you collect 7 Dragon Balls, and then you can summon Shenron who grants a wish. So that's kind of the whole reason for the journey. So he, in basically every Dragon Ball game ever... No, never say like One Piece.
What if that is the One Piece?
It'd be better than whatever the One Piece is.
People love Dragon Ball. It is ignorant of me not to know.
Well, I will teach. This is Dragon Ball 101. So, in every Dragon Ball game, they find some way to do Shenron. They find some way to have him in it. Usually it's just in certain levels you can find a Dragon Ball, or it's a reward for quests. But in Dragon Ball FighterZ, because it's a game, it's the 2D competitive fighter by Arc System Works, because that game is all about the fighting mechanics, you don't have any kind of level besides the fighting where you find Dragon Balls. So what they do is, it's just really cool. You get them through doing certain combos. So if you hit like a certain level of combo, you get a Dragon Ball. And then you have to get all 7 still, and then pull off like an extra special combo to summon him. And then you get like the option to have your health restored. I think you can revive a dead teammate. And I just always thought, like, even though FighterZ isn't my favorite, like I say, it's Sparking Zero or Budokai Tenkaichi, it's such a clever way to do it for the game that it's in, because they could have just not. They could have him be a menu option where it's just like rewarded after random fights, but the fact they put the thought in to do it in a way that does justice to fighters, I think that's just very clever. Very cool.
Can the dragon grant any wish?
There are limitations. At first, he's like, I can do anything.
He can't do unlimited wishes.
He can't do unlimited wishes. He can't bring people back to the dead after a certain amount of time.
He can't make people fall in love. Is he just a genie?
I will not take this slander. He's not a genie. He is a mythical beast and he's better than your dragons. But yes, that is why FighterZ is the best for it. It's not my favorite Dragon Ball game by a long shot. It's very good, but
that's good,
the way
though,
they did Shenron's
the best
clever.
use of the dragon. Yeah, I do like the idea of the combo, and you get this like iconic thing. He's just not the biggest dragon.
I will wait till the discussion is over because I feel like there are more dragons to mention.
I mean, there's lots more dragons to mention.
Yeah.
We've mentioned Dungeons and Dragons, and we haven't mentioned... I mentioned Tolkien, so we've mentioned Lord of the Rings. Like, they are bigger than Shenron.
Wow. Maybe I'm a very specific nerd.
Smog. I think it's Smog.
Smog, yeah, it is. Desolation.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. Blech.
I'm going to say that I think Dracarys is bigger as well, but that's...
I don't even know what that is!
It's Game of Thrones.
Oh, yeah, I don't watch
Dracarys.
If it was animated, I'd probably watch it, but it's not.
There was 3 of them in Game of Thrones.
Also, I realized it was Echo Chamber. Very George Echo Chamber. As I sometimes do. This is very much a George thing, but...
Yeah, it's a good example.
Yeah.
Eric, what is your favorite game with
Mine's
dragons?
easy, too. It's Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, don't be mad. We love Monster Hunter.
I'm not mad. I think we all picked games that we probably secretly look for every time this thing comes in.
Yeah.
How can we get these in there? At
least I didn't choose Dead Rising
Spyro so far. So
okay, here's a weird thing about Monster Hunter, right? There's two categories of monster. There's elder dragons, pretty self-explanatory.
Yeah,
They're the big boss, and they're dragons. We'll come back to that. The other one is wyverns.
Yes.
Everything is a wyvern, and that includes Rathalos, the iconic
the
Monster Hunter, the red one, the iconic Monster Hunter dragon, Rathalos. There's Raytheon. There's many dragons, but that also includes like Rajang, who is a gorilla, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna say that you fight things that aren't dragons in Monster Hunter.
But are they?
I thought wyverns were different things to dragons. Are
They're
they
small dragons?
Oh, then I like them. Carry on.
Oh, yeah, traditionally a wyvern or wyvern is a small dragon, but Monster Hunter calls everything a wyvern. And to make it even weirder, one of the elder dragons is a unicorn.
That is weird.
No
that
wings,
is weird.
Doesn't breathe fire.
I think the dragon and wyvern thing is whether they have 4 legs or 2, because some dragons have legs on their wings
Oh, interesting.
and some don't. And I think that's where it is, but I don't know. And they're not real. It's whatever you want it to be. They're fictional creatures, but I think that's what they are.
Just not a unicorn dragon, because that has stumped me, and I'm not sure where to go.
Well, they call them dragon, but they are actual dragons. I mean, we said Rathalos, obviously. Like the elder dragons are mostly dragons, right? They're mostly big dragon things.
Mostly they're massive dragons.
Because I've played a few. I've played Rise and World and whatever the one before World was.
Generations U.
That does ring a bell.
Was the one before that.
I remember fighting this one in World.
Technically 4. 4 was...
I think I'm thinking of the Iceborne, was it called?
The Sun and... Yeah, Iceborne, yeah.
Iceborne was part of World, yeah.
Yeah. I've fought, like, the actual dragon things, but I've also fought, like, this is just, like, a big goat thing.
Yeah. And that's a wyvern. There's brute wyverns. There's piscine wyverns. Those are the fish. There's flying wyverns. There's bird wyverns. There's all these categories of wyverns that...
Do they act draconic anyway? Like, does it make sense to you as a player that they're called wyverns, or is it a weird quirk that...
No, okay. It's weird. It's just a weird Monster Hunter thing.
Is the monkey that throws fruit at people a wyvern?
Everything.
That's the gorilla,
Everything is a wyvern, yeah. The gorilla George, the Rajang, he goes Super Saiyan.
Okay.
He turns gold, his hair spikes up, and he gets really powerful, and to stop him, you have to break his tail.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's clever. That took me a sec. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
That's good.
Because of the Dragon Balls.
That's in our next lesson, Stace. That's 102.
I know what Super Saiyan is. That's the more iconic thing. Chevrolet.
Monster Hunter makes iconic designs better than Pokemon. I'm making that claim. Pokemon has more iconic designs. Pikachu is more iconic than any Monster Hunter monster, but Monster Hunter is better at making iconic designs than Pokemon is. Yes. Yes.
Consistent hits.
Pokemon.
There's a lot of misses in Pokemon.
They 1,000 with a cheese string guy for some reason.
And Monster Hunter has hundreds of monsters, and they're all perfect. They're all so good. They have so much personality, totally unique. They must have 50 different dragons that are all different characters. I love Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter is a good pick, and one surprisingly that jumped to mind, because for me this whole wyvern thing has thrown me for a bit of a loop.
Like I said, they have elder dragons.
I know they have actual
dragons,
but I'm a Monster Hunter noob. I've played I've played World and Rise for about 30, 40 hours each, but that's apparently nothing for Monster Hunter.
That's nothing.
That's about what I'm on, yeah. I think it probably a little less even.
And the real
More
beauty
for
of
World,
Monster Hunter is you get to kill thousands of dragons. Like, you know, I mean, other games make it this like pinnacle achievement.
It's epic, yeah.
You might kill one dragon.
Dragon Age Inquisition, I think, and one's DLC.
Yeah. Skyrim has a very famous dragon, but there's like 5 dragons in that game or something. All you do is kill dragons in Monster Hunter. That's the whole game is killing dragons, and it's very rad. That's pretty much all I got to say about Monster Hunter. Best dragon game.
I love it. I love that Stace and I are more. I can't think. Noob isn't the word I want to use again, but we're less veteran.
Ignorami.
That's what we are. But I like hearing, because I know you love Monster Hunter. I know that's like in your top things ever, and it's always interesting to hear from that perspective.
Shall we get into the honorable mentions?
Let's do it.
We haven't done any of the big. I know Monster Hunter, but like any of the big like Heroes of Dragon RP. We've mentioned them a little bit, but yeah, I want to chat about some of them because I had a pretty sizable list.
Yeah, what's Stacey's side pieces? Stacey's side chicks. What do you got? What's on your list?
Yeah, I had some picks and some side chicks for this one. Obviously, I did the review for Dragon Age Veilguard, so I've just finished. That's quite fresh in my mind. I was never going to pick it for this because it's not even my favorite of the Dragon Age games. But there's 2 dragon battles in that I think are very cool. And what I love about the Veilguard, particularly when it comes to the dragon battles, is Inquisition had them out in the wild, and that had a little bit of sense of like an epic discovery adventure thing. You'd stumble onto them, but a lot of the time you didn't stumble onto them. You looked up, where are all the dragons? And then you went there and you fought them with the perfect team, and you still died, if you want me. This one puts them in missions, so they feel like more of an accomplishment. I don't want to. It's quite new, so I don't want to spoil what happens for people. But there's one of the side quests in the Necropolis where you eventually earn your way to a necrotic dragon, and it's not like a fully undead creature, which I really wanted it to be. But the way it uses the arena is really good. Like it summons skeletons, and it's. I say necrotic. It's actually not a necrotic dragon. It's weak to necrotic because it's been captured by the army of the dead, but it then turns the dead against you because it uses skeletons. And I really loved the use of the environment in the Veilguard as well. So there's that one. There's a cold dragon that's in a warm environment. So it creates like mist and frost, so you can't see it. There's a electric dragon that you fight on the beach, so it doesn't shoot you, it shoots at the water, so you can't go in the water. If you're in the water, you constantly take damage.
That's cool.
Yeah, and what's funny about that one is I had, obviously because I was doing the coverage for it, I had like recorded myself. And I died once, and I was like, what's going on here? And I watched the video back, and I was just like standing there in the ocean.
Standing in the puddle.
It's just like Sonic, just like slowly dying from being wet. So I really love the way it uses the environment. So all the Dragon Age games are cool. Obviously, famously, dragons were added after the name was chosen, so they've all got like a slightly different use of dragons in there. Flemeth, see an excellent one. But yeah, the Veilguard uses them really well. I love the environmental stuff, and I once people have played Dragon Age a little bit more, I think the quest I'm talking about will be considered one of the best, certainly in the Veilguard, possibly in the Dragon Age canon.
Wow.
You know, the story you told about that dragon reminds me of a Monster Hunter dragon, an elder dragon called Val Hazak, and he breathes miasma, and he's basically a skeleton with his flesh hanging from his bones.
That was
That's
what
horrible.
I wanted. That was what I wanted when I went to the Palace of the Undead, and there was a dragon there. That was the kind of thing I expected to find.
Yeah. And then Dragon's Dogma had like a blighted dragon too. It had a bunch of pustules on him you had to break. I thought that was a pretty cool fight. Yeah.
Really? I don't remember that at all.
You climb to the top of this like decrepit tower, and you got to fight this blighted dragon.
Yeah, maybe.
Pop all the bubbles on him.
Which is not the climbing, but there's a dragon fight in the Veilguard, which is exactly the same. They must have been so annoyed when that came out. You fight a dragon with these boils on it, and you've got to aim for them specifically.
Yeah.
It's totally your idea. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I played that in the preview, too, and I was like, huh. Familiar. Yeah.
Obviously there's no climbs, so it is a bit different, but yeah. That's blighted as well. Like, obviously Dragon Age has always had the blight, so
Yeah. I love God of War's dragons.
That was on my list.
Love them.
Yes.
We mentioned different cultures, different dragons. These are the Norse dragons.
Yeah.
And they're like, those encounters are cool. There are all these different side missions. They're kind of puzzly, kind of like platformy. You got to dodge there. And they breathe lightning, right? They don't breathe fire. Yeah.
The first one that jumps to mind for me, they have the scene with Atreus in the 2018 one. I think it's just before or after you get the mistletoe string thing, and there's that battle against the. I'm almost certain it's a dragon. It might be a wyvern, whatever, but it's dragonish. It's the first time Atreus sees Kratos take on something that size. And there's a whole exchange about that, and it's just like a reminder. Obviously, for the whole game, you see Kratos kicking ass. That's what he does. But to see him go up against an enemy that's as big as anything he saw, well, not as big, but like in the classic trilogy. The awesome moment. Such a good time.
I wonder if, I'm going to say the name wrong,
Jormungandr.
I wonder if that counts as a dragon. It's the snake, so I guess not, but that's
snake.
Like...
Yeah.
He has little tiny wings.
The world serpent, yeah, they do.
Yeah. They do.
Because if that was it, George could have said Astrobot.
Yeah, maybe next week.
If I was going to be a little cheater like George, I would have picked Metroid because Ridley is a space dragon.
Ridley is a space dragon, yeah. George is two worst nightmares.
A space pirate dragon.
You like pirates, or is that a triple threat?
Pirates are okay. They can stay.
Tomb Raider 2 has dragons.
Yes.
Does it? There's
Tomb Raider Legend has a dragon as well.
Artifact that can turn people into dragons, right? Isn't that the thing?
Yeah, that turns into one.
Tomb Raider has everything, man. That's just in...
Tomb Raider does have everything.
I didn't even know that was a thing. I like Tomb Raider. Yeah.
Did you know that Destiny has dragons?
I did not. That's
space and dragons again.
Space dragons, yes. They're called the Ahamkara, and they're wish dragons. So George might actually be interested.
Yeah. No.
And they were so influential and so powerful at manipulating humanity that they were all hunted down and killed. And there's no more dragons in Destiny. Hunted down in the Dark Ages.
Can I say one that I'm very surprised hasn't come up yet? Super Mario Odyssey's weird dragon fight.
That is a crazy dragon. Yeah.
Such a weird moment.
I was recently replaying Odyssey a little bit, and when I got to the dinosaur at the beginning, it struck me once again how weird the like hyper realism is in that game.
Yeah.
It's such a weird choice for an art style. But yeah, the dragon is like, it should be in a Dragon Age game, right?
Yeah. It's taken to the extreme because even the area you fight it in, it's like you've had New Donk City, you've had the rest of the locations I can't remember the names of. It's been like 10 years. The woods.
Been 10 years.
Nearly. It's been a while.
6.
Oh, Christ. Okay, time's going fast.
It after Zelda?
I had it as 2016 in my head.
Oh, was it before Zelda?
Yeah, I think so. It might be.
Anyway,
either way, very long time. But you have those like areas, and they're
17 were both wrong. Same year as Zelda. God, they were not messing around that year with Nintendo.
Yeah, they were Switch launch titles.
Oh, of course they were. Yeah, because Zelda came from the Wii U.
Yeah.
God, time. Okay, time for Odyssey 2 more than anything else.
Yeah. Switch 2 be a Switch 2 launch title.
Yeah. I hope that has dragons as well. That would be cool.
That reminds me, actually, of a game that I think we all are quite fond of. Similar to the kind of art style. Not Clash, but similar to the art style of the Mario game. Guardians of the Galaxy. It's got a cool dragon fight.
Yes.
Right? Fin Fang Foom.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, that was such a cool moment. What a game. What a game. Man. Eric and I love that. This is a while ago. We talked about that for a
10
video.
Years, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's like the lifetime of the Switch ago.
Fin Fang Foom is so awesome because they are talking about him. He's mentioned throughout the game.
Yep.
They bring him up. And at a certain point in the story, they're like, well, I guess you know what we got to do now. And you're thinking there's no way that they're actually going to bring the dragon into this game. And then they do, and it's so cool.
The fact that it has been 10 years since that game launched and talking about it still makes me smile. I'm still sat here like, yeah, they did that.
I love that game, man. Yeah.
Damn.
2021, I think.
Good.
Yeah.
For people
it
who
was
are listening at home. Pretty sure.
Wow. Deserved better.
Shout out to Dragon Maleficent in Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, that was on my list. I just felt like I'd get judged because I actually don't like the fight.
See a big Dragon Ball.
What? It's a great fight. The camera's a little unwieldy.
No, I hate that fight. That is the bane on proud playthroughs.
This is starting to be its own segment. Let me tell you a little story about Ark Survival Evolved.
No!
Sorry, I got it.
Ark.
It's formative for me, even though I was an adult when I played it. Okay, so in Ark, let's say you want a pterodactyl. You got to go hit a pterodactyl on the head, and then it gets knocked out. You got to feed it sedatives, and then you got to feed it kibble. And after enough time, real world time, it will be tamed. That could be for like a raptor, that could be 15 minutes. For a brontosaurus, that could be like 17 hours of feeding it every 20 minutes. We did that. I lived that life. I actually did that stuff.
That sounds horrible.
Dragons are different. So they're elemental. So there's like fire wyvern, ice wyvern, poison, and you cannot knock them out. You cannot tame them. If you want a dragon, you have to steal one of their eggs and hatch it, and then raise the dragon.
That's cool. That's better than
And
killing.
stealing a dragon egg is hard as shit. Because they all live, all the dragons live in an open gorge that's filled with lava. So one, it's so hot. You can't even like go over there. You have to have the right everything to even be in that area. Two, it's filled with dragons. And as soon as you take an egg, they lock onto you and try to kill you and will not stop. So you have to figure out some kind of strategy of how you're going to maybe distract them, pull them away, or you're going to cage them. You're going to trap them as you're escaping. Like it's a whole operation. You can't just go run in, grab an egg and run out. And also the eggs weigh like 80 pounds. So you can't be like fully armored with all your gear and stuff. You won't be able to carry the egg too. So it takes a lot of planning to like get a dragon egg. It's like a whole thing. Very cool.
Yeah, I didn't know Ark had that, but that is cool.
Yeah. Okay, a couple more. Here's a game no one has played but me, but I would love to talk about. Draken: The Ancient's Gates.
You are correct.
Yeah,
Okay.
Indeed.
No idea?
Nope.
This is awesome. I'm sure there's two people out there that know what I'm talking about. So Draken PS2 game, The Ancient's Gates, it's a sequel to a PC game, which I didn't know until I looked it up for this conversation. It's a sequel to a PC game called Draken: The Spells of Fire. I don't know. Okay, Draken is a Dragon Age style action RPG about a girl and her dragon companion, and it's open world, and you can jump on the dragon and fly around. And the dragon has its own combat scenarios where you're doing flips and breathing fire and fighting and doing dogfights in the air. But also you're running around on the ground, collecting weapons, casting spells, like doing action RPG stuff. It is such a cool game that nobody's ever heard of.
No, I literally have never.
It totally slipped away, and it was. I almost want to say ahead of its time, but then what have we ever had that was like that? Do we have anything even like that? I know that they were trying to do what was that Xbox one? That
I was Scalebound. I was literally just thinking about that.
Nobody will ever get over. Yeah,
damn. That would be sick.
Beats headphones.
Yeah, I liked it. That was me. See, I'd like Dragons then. If that existed, I would
there was
like
a dragon writing game called Lair. It was a PS3 launch title that showed off the 6-axis. But you didn't get off the dragon, right? You were only flying around. Yeah.
There was a Kinect game like that as well. I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, this was like a full third-person RPG where also you could, whenever you want, just whistle and a dragon would land, and you could just mount and fly around. Super cool game. And then more recently, Century Age of Ashes. Did you guys play that at all? No. It's free to play. It's a PvP dragon fighting game.
Rings kind of a bell on concept alone.
It is super cool.
You lost Stacey at PvP.
I was lost. I was already a bit worried free to play.
Yeah, it had different game modes. It had like capture the flag, and it had different dragon kind of game modes, and it was like a really technical flying fireball shooting. There were different classes of dragons. It had loot boxes. You get different dragon armor.
I like the last one more. Dragon.
That's what I got. You got any more? Got any more dragons?
You stole my picks. God of War and Kingdom Hearts. Super Mario's.
Oh, who's your favorite dragon Pokemon?
Yeah, George. Who's your favorite dragon Pokemon?
Yeah, George.
Give me a minute. Dragonite is a dragon, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty safe bet, but
because Charizard's not, and I have that on authority because I know this already.
Charizard is a dragon, but he's not dragon type. But come on, look at him.
Yeah, this Pokemon's dumb. Let's move on.
No, Stacey, what's your favorite dragon?
My favorite dragon. I really like. Oh, I forgot its name now. It's the one from Sword and Shield. It has little babies that live in its head and shoots them at you. Pew, pew.
Dragapult.
Dragapult, because it's catapult and it's dragon, and it drags because it's got drag on it. Pew.
Yeah. It's a great one. It's a great dragon.
It's a ghost as well. It's like dead.
It is a ghost, yeah. Dreepy is the what the baby is. Dreepy. Yeah.
How can you take that seriously?
Is it Grampus?
That's its own.
That's its own thing.
What is it? Gramp? It's not Grampus, but it's like that.
That's what I call it.
Grampy? That's its own dragon, yeah.
It's nothing compared to Dreepy.
It's the never ending story dragon.
Yeah.
Right?
What the hell is it called? I don't really know. I'm going to look it up.
Drampus.
Drampus.
Is that what you said?
I said Grampus. Because it's like a little grander.
Yeah.
Is there a dragon that's like a little blue seahorsey thing? And it's not, I don't mean horsey.
That's Kingdra. Kingdra.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, I know that one. I changed it to that. That's less basic.
I like Rayquaza. Rayquaza's super cool. Oh, I love Goodra. A little slimy dragon.
George would like Gibble, I think.
Yeah.
Do you two hear the names that you are saying right now?
Well, yeah, Goodra is covered in goo. Like it's a goo
little
creature.
Slime boy.
And he would like Gibble. It's a little shark baby.
Okay. How's that a dragon? You know what? Pokemon.
It evolves into a bit. All of the like pseudo legendaries are dragons, basically.
Yeah.
My pick is Dreepy. On name alone, that has sold me.
Dreepy's pretty cute. All right, let's wrap it up. That's it for this episode. Those were our favorite games with dragons, but now we need to know what's your favorite game with dragons. So leave us a comment. And thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and visit us at thegamer.com. That's The Gamer, no spaces.